Yes, it is. Good afternoon and welcome to another wonderful special edition of What the Heck is Going On at UVI? And no, that's not the real name, but with the world being in the state that it's in right now, let's keep things light. Let's keep things light. And for those of us that are running small businesses, there's always more to learn, and our UVI, University of the Virgin Islands School of Business, has another wonderful webinar coming up for you, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So this one is Conversations on the Frontline, Business Processes, Improving Your Cash Flow. So who doesn't want to hear about that, right? It's coming up Thursday, June 17th at 3 p.m. And now the School of Business representatives are going to go ahead and introduce themselves and let you know who they are and what they do here at the University of the Virgin Islands. So welcome, my favorite SOBs.
Good. Thank you.
That stands for School of Business. Good day, everyone. Good afternoon, Ms. Cooper, and thank you again for allowing us this platform to be with you. I'm Dr. Kendra Harris, and I am the Dean of the School of Business.
Thank you. Welcome.
And good afternoon. My name is Francisco Depiswell. I am currently the Chair of Accounting and Finance, and I do teach accounting courses at the university.
Okay. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Ms. Cooper. My name is Dr. Paul Fleming, and I am the Chair of the Management and Marketing at the University of the Virgin Islands School of Business. I'm very pleased to be in your presence.
Ditto. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Renell Smith. I am an Assistant Professor of Information Systems and Technology here at the School of Business.
Excellent, excellent. Well, welcome back again. Always lovely to have you all here. As a UVI alum, as well as a small business owner in the Virgin Islands, there's so much that we can learn from the School of Business and all of those that you collaborate with in order to put these webinars out for our community. So thank you in advance. And let's get right to it. What exactly is happening on June 17th at 3 p.m. and why should people come in, and who are these people that should come?
Well, this is a continuation of a series we started approximately a year ago on the heels of the pandemic coming into our lives, and recognizing that we always want to be great.
Uh-oh. Did she pause for everybody else, or is this just me?
I think there's a Wi-Fi
The
issue.
vibrancy of the business community. And so we started a series of webinars that have the umbrella concept of small business voices from the front line. And the first webinar we did was in the midst of the pandemic. And so there we just talked about challenges and solutions. And then we followed that a few months later with a second webinar on social media. And today, or this coming Thursday, June the 17th, we're doing a webinar on the subject of, as you mentioned, business processes, improving your cash flow. And one of the reasons we felt compelled to do that webinar is that traditionally in the territory, there has been some sluggishness with businesses with respect to engaging in standard business processes. And that's come home to roost very often, particularly in times of distress, like environmental problems, say a hurricane, or with a pandemic. Particularly when businesses are wanting to benefit from state and federal funds and support due to the hardships brought on by whatever that tragedy is. And so we find that a lot of businesses that have been up and running and operating during those times just can't qualify because they don't have the requisite documentation in place. They may not have filed for licenses. They may not have been reporting their taxes as they should. They may not have been reporting their employees as they should. And so from an official standpoint, they're not official legitimate businesses, although as a practical matter, they could be as legitimate as we are sitting here. So we want to assist in getting people to understand the importance of engaging in business processes. And even if there isn't a hardship in the environment, engaging in those processes is just good business practice. It helps you stay on top of how you're performing, where perhaps there are areas of opportunity, and what you can do to increase, quote unquote, your cash flow and your bottom line.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. I'm kind of curious, and this will kind of give a little background for those who didn't catch the first webinar in the series. How did these come about? Like what was the process? Where did the ideas come from to create these specific webinars?
So we'll let Professor Depaswad take that.
Sure.
Thank you, Dean Harris. We have had an opportunity to look at some of the feedback that some of the individuals who have looked at our webinars. And one of the feedback that we received is for businesses that are in operation to get some information as to what is happening with regards to their operation. And so from the feedback that we have received, one, business practices is one of the areas that stood out. And so we decided to do the webinar on such business practices. It is important, as Dean Harris indicated, that businesses perform good cash management, good crop management, or good farm management. And so this is an opportune time for businesses to hear from some of our farmers, or two of our farmers to be precise, as to what are they doing to keep up with best practices.
And perhaps Dr. Smith can piggyback on that and talk a little bit more about how we formed and got started in the beginning.
Yeah, one of the things that was important to us is there are some businesses who are doing things very well. And the way we focus have a discussion about it. And that's why we came up with this whole thing about having a conversations from the front line. It's not about being preachy, it's just about let's just talk, and people can walk away with something that's valuable for their business.
Okay. Nice, nice. Makes sense to me. So you're basically listening to what the community has requested in terms of needing support for their small businesses, and you found whoever it made sense to put together to develop these. So who are some of those people or agencies that bring these together?
Dr. Fleming?
Thank you, Dean, for allowing me that question. One of the agency that really is synergizing and identifying with where we are going and actually sponsor the program is the Small Business Development Center. Now, this agency is critical to the equation because they actually work with small businesses. They understand their needs, and they facilitate such needs by identifying best practices in developing business plans, business framework, business modeling, and point them to other agencies that can facilitate funding if necessary. So they play a strategic role in our webinar as partners. We also have the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority. They also represent from their end, what businesses can access regarding the number of programs they have. They have the microloan programs that are identified with small businesses for $50,000. And such persons doesn't necessarily have to be approved by a bank, but they can go there and get this money freely, not necessarily freely, but they could apply for it and basically use it to sort of a jumpstart or facilitate this seed money that they need. We also have the USDA that provide the federal end of the spectrum that basically allow the government to identify with loans through FEMA and all the other USD Department of Agriculture that is necessary here. Now, I also wanted to go a step further to represent the fact that from the university standpoint and the School of Business standpoint, we take this outreach to the community seriously. Our job as researchers, as academics, is to interact with the community and share with the community best practices based on our research. And as the dean said earlier, we found that during the pandemic and prior to the pandemic, the 2 hurricanes struck us, that the public basically cry out for assistance from help. And we have the knowledge to share, to empower, to get them to identify with some of the best practices that we have researched through our knowledge, and therefore recommending that such, if it's implemented, can have significant, cash flow improvement in their systems. And we feel comfortable that the amount of persons who have been attending these webinars have been walking away with new information, new way of doing things in order to improve their enterprises. And so I feel that this is very timely. Thank you, Dean.
And I'm just going to add one quick thing. I'm not sure, and maybe I fell asleep with my eyes open. We also have the UVI Economic Development Authority that's joining us next Thursday as well. We have 2 representatives from there. They are extremely instrumental in interacting with businesses. They provide loan opportunities, they provide business support. So they have very much been on the front line of interacting with businesses and hearing their woes and working with them to address some of their challenges in their time of need.
Yes, that is true. The EDA, the VI EDA fall under the umbrella, Dean, and I reference the fact that they would be providing the information regarding those loan packages if necessary. So you're correct, yes. Definitely
some very significant partners in putting on these webinars to be able to help to inform and empower the community, especially our small businesses here. So you mentioned the EDA, the USDA, Small Business Development Center. Let's see, what else did I miss? Department of Agriculture locally as well, but I guess that's under the USDA.
So the VI Department of Agriculture is not participating on this particular webinar. The one that's participating is the federal one. And it'll be a combination of either the person locally or the regional person out of Florida.
I see. Okay, understood. But you also mentioned something about some farmers. So I'll let you all continue to share, because I'm really interested to hear more about this upcoming webinar Thursday coming up.
Okay.
Right.
So again, the webinar is next Thursday, June the 17th at 3 o'clock. And again, the subject is business processes, improving your cash flow. Ms. Cooper, we thank you for posting information on Facebook Live. And so for those who are viewing live, you can go to the site and click on and register right now. Dr. Smith, can you give them the registration information where they can go if they catch this sometime later and they want some options?
Okay, yes. Some of the other places that you can go and find information where you can go and register for this is you can go to the VISBDC's website, and we're listed there. One of the other places that you can go to is their Facebook page. And if you also go to the UVI.edu, look at some of the announcements, we will be listed underneath there. You can find a link. And last, if you are on LinkedIn, you can also find us there under the School of Business VI, and school it is abbreviated, so SCH of Business VI. And you can find a link to get to it there. Once you're there, just fill out that brief, click on the link, fill out the brief information, and it'll take you to the registration page where you fill out that information, and that's it. You'll get a link to click on the day of the webinar. Just click on it and you're there. That's it.
So the question was asked as well, who are some of our business participants? Because again, one of the differences in our webinars that we're having quote unquote conversations from the front line. So we're serving as moderators, if you will, or facilitators of conversations among business people who are actually engaged in these activities and are willing to share some of their strategies. And so as it happens for the upcoming webinar on this coming Thursday, June the 17th at 3 o'clock, we're going to have two segments. One segment is going to feature farmers from the VI territory, and the other segment is going to feature two local businesses. One is SEAT, S-E-A-T, Caribbean, and the other one is NT Production. So I'm going to let Professor Depassoir talk a little bit about the speakers who will be the farmers speaking, and I'll ask Dr. Fleming to speak just a little bit about the other two companies that are going to be on.
Thank you, Dean Harris. The two individuals who are going to be presenting on behalf of farming industry are Charles Burton, who currently is farming in the mid-island of St. Croix, and we have CJ Farming that is owned and operated by Dale Brown and his wife, Yvette Brown. These two farmers do quite a bit of farming on St. Croix, and they have been Farmer of the Year at the Ag Fair on several occasions. They specialize in particular crop farming and have been following some best practices that they are going to share with the general public. We also would have the USDA that's going to tell us something about the resources that they have and how they can help those farmers that are operating in the territory. But the two farmers that we are looking at are farming on St. Croix.
So we're actually going to tag team a little bit to talk about the other two businesses. Dr. Smith, do you want to take one or two of the other two that are going to be on? I think he's frozen. Dr. Smith, are you with us?
It seems like we're having some internet connectivity challenges because every now and then people are getting frozen.
Okay, so the other two companies are Seat Caribbean and NT Production. Seat Caribbean is a workspace company where individuals can come into the locations and work, you know, at their leisure on their own time. And the other company is a video production and marketing and a branding company. And they're both run by, each one of those is run by a woman. And so they are going to be the featured businesses, if you will, in the other segment. I don't know if Dr. Smith or Dr. Fleming want to add anything.
Okay, I can briefly say something about Seat Caribbean. That company is run by Jennifer Secure. She basically it's a shared space where you can just rent instead of having your own office space and all that stuff. You can just rent a area where you can just work for the day, or you can use it as a permanent office for a short time period. I've done it in the past. And there are actually quite a few number of businesses that are there. So it's a idea that she and a group of other women came up with, and it's been working for them. It's a very nice space up on the waterfront. And it's also could be a good opportunity for people who are visiting the island to actually just have a quick office space where they can conduct business if need be.
And the proprietor of the other business, NT Productions, is Nicole Tyson, and she actually came to us by way of a referral from SBDC. So she'll be able to speak to how you know, having some services from SBDC have been instrumental in the operations of her business.
I just wanted to say, Dean, that she would also be speaking on the success that she have had because of the best practices that she has implemented, and a testimony that indeed once you aligned your business practices with tested strategies, it does work and improve your overall cash flow. But I think you represented that very well.
That should be something that many people can then gain a lot from in terms of listening to not only NT Productions, Seed Caribbean, as well as the two representatives of the different farms. So I can already see here why this this webinar that's coming up on Thursday will help people by providing them best practices of how to increase their cash flow in different ways. And it's not related specifically to subject matter of a particular type of business. And so it'll help more people.
And that's a great point. We like to think that irrespective of the particular business or particular industry represented, that it is as much about the subject matter. And for us this time around, the subject matter is regarding engaging in business processes. So our hope is that irrespective of the business some of the viewers might be in, they still can take away nuggets from individuals who are following those business practices. Again, for the webinar next Thursday, June 17th at 3 o'clock.
Nice, nice. And so that answers that question that I posed earlier regarding who is this for? It really can be for any business of any particular subject matter to be able to gain something from. So if you'd like to improve your cash flow, it may make sense to listen to those who are being successful in doing so. Yeah.
I just wanted to add, Dr. Dean Harris, that as an important point that you mentioned, some of these businesses like the agricultural sector, agribusiness, and the fisheries, those are also small businesses, but they're not the streamlined mainstream businesses that usually access information readily. And I think it's a good time for them to, join us so that they can at least get the information that would help them in their business processes. Now, this is critical for them because some of them do these type of businesses, as was said earlier, more like a hobby, right? We want to make certain that they understand that the hobby is really a commercial entity that can be identified appropriately and be used to measure their income and or the economic condition once it is called upon to do so. What we are providing is the step-by-step concerns that are usually encountered so that if they were to adapt these, they would enhance greatly again their cash flow. And so an appeal is made to some of those businesses that are not usually in the front mainstream to join us on this webinar.
Makes perfect sense, makes perfect sense. And I think now, as you mentioned that, with part of my job at the university being with the School of Agriculture as their communication specialist related to PR and technology and so on, I get to interact with lots of farmers who could benefit from this type of webinar. The technology part of it is something that can sometimes pose as a barrier. So I'm gonna give myself permission here to do a plug that I'm going to start teaching on Monday, actually. So the Monday before your webinar, I'll start teaching Zoom to the farmers and anyone else that decides to register. And it's going to be based on, again, from their feedback of when it would be beneficial to them, Monday, 7 to 9 p.m. So just adding this into the conversation, and I didn't actually make the connection until just now when you said that. But for those who may want to participate in your webinar, but not feel as comfortable with using Zoom, they can give us a call at Cooperative Extension Service so that we can make sure that they at least are comfortable enough with joining the meeting in time for Thursday. And our second training will be Thursday from 12 to 1. So if they missed the one Monday 7 to 9, they can join us 12 to 1. But of course, there's a registration process in that too. But in general, I just, I don't want to take up too much of the time on this, but facilitating their ability to get to the webinar is something that just came to mind. As you mentioned, farmers are small businesses, but they aren't necessarily always in the loop with other small businesses and getting some of the services and things. Not that they're not available to them, but there are different things that sometimes prevent that. So again, excellent ways to show how all different parts of the university can collaborate to help our community in different ways.
We appreciate you for doing that. I mean, irrespective of whether, we end up seeing some of those people, that is a great service to offer. And there's so many opportunities that, we all enjoy through this medium. So to facilitate having them have the ability to do that is absolutely wonderful. And certainly as a charity, we would love to have them, because we think that, again, because we have this particular time, we have a segment that's particularly devoted to agriculture. We think, we know would be time well spent for them.
Right.
And it'd be a great way for them to see how learning that new tool, has become beneficial to them.
Yes. Exactly. So for those just joining us or watching this after the fact that it's live, we're speaking with representatives from our University of the Virgin Islands School of Business about an upcoming webinar that is related to small businesses. It's conversations from the frontline, business processes specific to improving your cash flow. And that webinar will be taking place on Thursday, June 17th at 3 p.m. via Zoom, via the Zoom platform. So for those watching on Facebook, contact us if you'd like to participate in this. The link to the registration is in the description of this video. And there are other ways that you can get to that as well. But if you just click on the link in the description, it'll take you straight to their registration process and you'll be able to get in there. If you have any challenges or discomforts with utilizing Zoom, shoot us a message and definitely we'll do what we can to support you being able to take advantage of this webinar coming up on the 17th at 3 p.m. That's a Thursday. Are there any other details that are pertinent to share so that people can further be encouraged to participate?
One of the things we do as a part of the registration is we encourage individuals who register to send us questions in advance so that we can do our best to tailor, to the degree possible, some of the commentary, some of our interaction to those questions that have come in. We certainly will have opportunities for or people posting questions while the webinar is going on live. But for those who are registering, please know if you have a question and there's something you want us to kind of noodle before we go live next Thursday, June 17th at 3 p.m. Please provide that question while you're registering.
Okay. And there's some place within the registration process where they can send a question.
Yes, there's a line that asks, do you have any questions that you would like to see answered during the webinar? Yeah.
Excellent. Wow. So I'm putting this in my calendar to attend because for many reasons, it can not only assist us to have these best practices that are working, especially locally, because best practices that work everywhere don't necessarily work for us, but these will be best practices shared by small businesses within the Virgin Islands that are helping them increase their cash flow. So that can help definitely our farmers who are our initial and primary client, and all the other people in the community that we reach out to at the School of Agriculture, and the university in general, different people within the university who may have small businesses, as well as in the community surrounding us. So this is a really great opportunity. I don't know anyone that would say no to increasing their cash flow or learning how they could potentially based on best practices. So thank you all again for putting this together and doing this. Please share anything else that's necessary. And then of course, repeat any contact information for people who want to get to you.
Well, for one, we'll have Dr. Smith tell us again all of the various places one could register.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sure. As Dara just said, you can also click on the link that she provided. If you at the VI SBDC's website, you can find our link to our webinar there. We can just click and complete the registration process. It's also on the the UVI.edu. If you look under the announcements, you will find a link to the webinar. And last, you can also check our LinkedIn page, which is CSH of Business VI. And you will find a link there which will take you to our registration page. And if there's any problems where you can also reach out to me directly, which is renel.smith@uvi.edu. Renel is RENEL.smith, SMITH@uvi.edu.
And I think you were spelling the beginning of the word school, right? Which is hard for many
Yes.
of us who are still in school. SCH, is it
Transpose the letters. Yeah.
of biz? Is that what it is on LinkedIn?
SCH, the first three letters of school, yes.
Yeah, I would say ABC are the first three letters of school, but okay. So SCH of biz,
Business VI.
of business VI on LinkedIn. All right, and the website for the Small Business Development Center, I know that one well, is VISBDC. So for Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center.org. Okay. And I'll throw a little plug in here for myself because what the heck, it's a Friday, right? So VISBDC.org, the business that's outside of my UVI entity is who worked on developing that. And it's very important to note this too, for those of us in the community, and I said us, that have any special abilities. People call that different things. The website is accessible. It's fully accessible. So whether you have ADHD or you have reading challenges or other learning challenges or blindness or any of those blessings that we have as our special abilities, the VISBDC.org is fully accessible. And you can go on there and find the information about this webinar very easily. So I can't speak to all the other platforms that we have it on, but I do know for sure that they are fully accessible. So for those of you that know people that usually have challenges because things aren't set in a way that they're able to access, this opportunity is not one of them. So please do encourage them to participate in this webinar Thursday, June 17th at what time?
3 p.m.
Yeah, excellent. Anything else that you all want to share?
Dr. Fleming, is there anything you'd like to add at the moment?
No, not at this time. Just to reiterate the fact that I think this is an opportune time for small businesses, both the traditional and the farming sector, and to come out and join us and tell a friend to tell a friend that the knowledge gain would be tremendous. So again, thank you for the opportunity to be part of this team and for your leadership team.
Professor Depassoir?
Yes, I think it's an opportunity for businesses that operate in the territory to log on to this webinar and find out what it is that they need to be providing on whether or not it's an annual basis or quarterly basis, because the reporting standards are very important if they are to be successful.
Dr. Smith, would you like to add anything?
I just want to encourage people to come out, support their neighbors, learn about some of the things that works for them, and let's just have a conversation about how you can improve your cash flow.
So I will close by saying we serve as the facilitators of conversations among business people who are actually out there running their businesses. And our goal is to be a partner in the community overall, and certainly in the business community, to help and assist in making life better for businesses and seeing them be involved in continuous improvement. You know, certainly, as you mentioned, Ms. Cooper, everyone could stand to increase cash flow or their bottom line. And we trust that there is at least a single nugget, you know, even if you walk away with just one thing, that's one more thing that helps to strengthen your business. So we'd love to have you next Thursday, June 17th at 3:00 p.m.
Yes, yes. So I want to thank you all for utilizing WUVI's ability to reach out to our community to let them know about this upcoming webinar, UVI Small Business Convos from the Frontline. I shorten conversations. I know I do that sometimes. A conversation from the Frontline, business processes, improving your cash flow. And that's, as we've been repeating, Thursday, June 17th at 3 p.m. via Zoom. And you can click on the link in the description to register or visit their various other partner locations, visbdc.org. That's the Small Business Development Center's website. Also uvi.edu. You could look up the information there on the website in the announcements, or in LinkedIn, and I'm going to get the spelling right, SCH of Business VI. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Right? Okay. SCH of, I'm telling you, I have some special abilities that people don't necessarily know about. SCH of Business VI on LinkedIn. And at the end of the day, we just want you to be able to participate in this and learn how you can improve your cash flow from other small businesses right here in the territory that are using best practices to do so. So I want to thank the School of Business for joining me once again here in WUVI, our university radio station I'm on the Orville Ken campus of the University of the Virgin Islands, as well as we have our other satellite station on the Albert A. Sheen campus. So we're one university radio station transitioning into many things right now as we develop. But thank you, School of Business. Definitely appreciate what all you do, and you're sharing it with us through this way for the community to be able to benefit. So I will probably be seeing you on Thursday, June 17th at 3 p.m. Because this is very beneficial, not only to myself, but to many people that we serve at the School of Agriculture. So thank you again.
And we thank you for being an undying supporter of our efforts and always allowing us a platform to spread the word of what we're doing. We really appreciate you for that.
Of course, of course. We make it happen together, right? So thank you. We're going to sign off now. But until the next time, did someone have something else that they were saying?
No, we were just waving goodbye.
Okay. All waving, everybody waving. I'll switch it back into gallery view so they can see all of our waves. All right, signing out from the University of the Virgin Islands. We're here for you in the community. So join us in this webinar coming up on June 17th. It's a Thursday at 3 p.m. via Zoom. The link is in the description. Take care.